Hello, I'm Brother Steve. It's time for another great Brother Steve Skype review. You know, we love that new name, the Brother Steve Skype review, because we want to interview people just like you. Your book, your CD, your program, your platform, whatever you have going on, your campaign, information that you have to help other people will help get the word out. We can reach thousands of people in just a short amount of time. My information is right there on the screen. Check me out, my website, brosteve.com, or call me toll free, 888-998-4677. The Church of God in Christ Holy Convocation is coming up in just a few weeks, and there is the great big election for the Judiciary Board for the Church of God in Christ. And my very special guest today is a very prestigious attorney, and he does a really great job, not just in the state of Alabama, but across America, and he's well known, and we want to introduce him to you. And some of you who don't know him, give you a chance to actually meet him as well. My great friend, attorney Peter Davis. How you doing, Brother Davis?
I'm doing pretty good, Brother Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, it's that time again. You are running for the Judiciary Board for the Church of God in Christ. Let me ask you this question. First of all, what do you bring to the table to the Judiciary Board for the Church of God in Christ?
Brother Steve, I'm glad you asked that question. If I'm elected to the board, I will bring a wealth of experience, in fact, over 17 years of experience to the board. I've been representing this church and working in the national church in the legal department since 1997 under Bishop Owens. And I understand the spirit of this church. I understand the constitution of our church, the doctrine, and how that interplays with cases that we have. And I have gone into court many times throughout this brotherhood and gotten cases dismissed and gotten verdicts that were favorable to this church. No other candidate in the race that I'm running for, and I'm running under the General Assembly slot, but no other candidate in this race can say that they have actually practiced before the Judiciary Board. I have. And I think my experience of knowing the inner workings of this church and the spirit of this church, I think that would be an asset if I'm elected.
If I was an elder or bishop or a lay person in the church and I heard your name, Peter Davis, what would convince me to want to cast that vote on that ballot in November?
Well, first of all, I would hope that my reputation as being someone who's fair-minded and who will read the case, understand the fact, and make a decision that's predicated on the facts and the law of the case. And I think my reputation precedes me as being someone who's fair and honest. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the bishops know me. They know that I'm capable of working on the board. They understand my experience level, and they can believe what I tell them.
If I lived in Alabama and I was in your community, what would people in your community say about you, Peter Davis?
They would say that I am tenacious, that I am a trial attorney, and that some of them would say that they would not want me, they would not want to be on the other side of me. They would like to be working with me. And I don't brag about that, but I do. When I try a case, I put myself into it, and I really go and go out and try to get justice for my clients. And I will bring that same spirit of work, or work spirit, to the board if I'm elected.
At this point in time in your life, you've been working with the church for over 17 years. What made you decide that, you know what, it's time for me to join the Judiciary Board of the Church of God in Christ? Why now?
Well, Brother Steve, the main reason I'm running, and I'm not running to unseat anyone, B.J. Warren, who is currently a board member, decided that she would not seek a re-election. Mm-hmm. And when she decided that she would not seek re-election, I thought, why not now? Why not I put myself out for election, hold myself out to the people based on my record of service to this church. I think that I'm the right candidate and the right person for this position. You see, I'm not running, the board does not need a man in this spot or a female in this spot. You need someone who knows this church law, knows the spirit of this church, and I possess that. And I think the time is now for me to ascend to the Judiciary Board.
Tell me a little bit about your local church and your jurisdiction, what you do in your local church and in your local jurisdiction.
Well, Right now, I'm currently working under Bishop David Allen Hall, who's my jurisdictional bishop.
Okay.
And he is in Tennessee, and I kind of go back and forth right now because, and that too, my relationship of working with the National Church kind of, if I can say, pushed me over to Bishop Hall.
Okay.
And I'm one of his advisors, legal advisors, and I pride myself in working with Bishop Hall because he's a principled man, and he's a bishop who cares about the people. And so I just love working with someone who loves the Lord and loves God's people.
What do you do in your local church?
Well, I'm a minister. I'm a licensed minister, not an ordained elder, but a minister. And I help out with the services or whatever Bishop tells me to do or whatever he tells me to do, I find myself doing that.
Wow, that's incredible. So basically, you know the church, you know the laws of the church, you know the history of the church, and it seems like you would be a great candidate to represent the Church of God in Christ.
Well, thank you, Steve. I believe I would be if I'm elected. And, you know, as a judicial candidate, I don't think it's wise or prudent to go out and make campaign promises.
Okay.
Because how can you should only promise to be fair and impartial. And you can't make a decision until you heard the facts of the case.
That's true.
And I promise that I will be fair and impartial. My record speaks for that. You know, one thing about it, especially in the church, we ought to be men of principle. I mean, you ought to say what you mean and mean what you say. And when it comes to cases in the church, I find out when we handle our business within, there's no need of going outside. And one of the main things happen when people get disgruntled and file lawsuits in the circular courts, the judges always say, can this be solved within the church? And I will strive to be fair and impartial and try to work within the arms and the walls of the church to resolve our differences.
Well, Peter Davis, great man, making things happen, great attorney. What final closing comments do you want to say to the people out there right now watching our program?
Well, I would like to say to all of the delegates of the Church of God in Christ that when it comes time for the election, I ask that you, under prayerful consideration, consider me as your choice for the Judiciary Board. And I do promise that if I'm elected, I will serve and I will make you proud.
Ladies and gentlemen, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard it from Peter Davis himself. I'm Brother Steve with another great Skype interview. When you go to Church of God in Christ Conversation, you make sure you make the right choice. You've heard Peter Davis right here. He stated his platform and what he's going to do, and let's make things happen. Until next time, from Hollywood, California, I'm Brother Steve. We'll see you again for another Brother Steve Skype review. Take care.